What is up, my dudes? This is Trent with the Fantasy Football Dudes podcast. Welcome to the show. Today's episode, I have my early waiver wire pickups for week 14. It's practically week 14, right? Sunday Night Football just ended, that nice snow game. Monday Night Football has not happened yet, but this is my early week 14 waiver wire ads. And if you're listening to this episode, guys, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. That means two things. One, either you're still alive in fantasy football and you know your playoffs or you're hanging on by a thread, or two, you're my parents or you're related to me. But anyways, guys, today's episode, all waiver wire ads will be below 55% rostered on Sleeper, guys. The absolute best place for fantasy football. And teams on bye this week. We have the Baltimore Ravens, Denver Browns, Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, New England Patriots, and the Washington Commanders. So, weird week for quarterbacks streaming, right? We got a lot of quarterbacks available, but there's some really bad quarterback matchups out there as well. As you all know, I'm a big fan of Bryce Young as of recently. He's been just playing really good in a few weeks, back-to-back finally got a win today, stringing, a couple good games together, and Panthers defense is actually playing well. But I can't trust Bryce Young against the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not going to do it, guys. Can't do it. Sorry, I want to do it. I will not. Also, Aaron Rodgers, yeah, he's a shell of himself. But, when teams are on bye like Lamar Jackson and I guess we throw Bo Nix in there, right? You don't want to play Aaron Rodgers against the Miami Dolphins. That's a terrible matchup for fantasy quarterbacks, guys. So let's snap this to the quarterbacks like we always do, guys. First quarterback I got on my list here, guys, I got Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson is 41% rostered. He's playing the Cleveland Browns for the second time in 3 weeks. Last time was in the snow. This time it's in Cleveland. So I think this is a lot better spot for Russell Wilson. And I think George Pickens is going to bring his A game. Last time this game happened, he got that little snowball, hissy fit out there in the end zone after the game. George Pickens is going to get this done. He's going to want the ball. He's going to demand the ball. Russ is going to get him the ball. It's a middle-of-the-road matchup for fantasy quarterbacks, the Cleveland Browns, my apologies. And so, like I said 2 weeks ago, we're back at it here. Next on my list, I have Will Levis, guys. And Will Levis is, what do we got here? Will Levis is 17% rostered. Best quarterback fantasy matchup for quarterbacks, guys. Taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. He has back-to-back games with 2 touchdowns, guys, and back-to-back games with at least 16 fantasy points. He's a very, viable streaming option. Like I said, Jags number 1 fantasy matchup for opposing quarterbacks, giving up 23.5 fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks, guys. This is a really good spot for Will Levis to kind of continue where he's going. Do I think he's going to get 30 fantasy points? No, I don't. Do I think he can get you 17 to 19? Yes, I do. I think he can get that done there. Last quarterback, I have Caleb Williams, 55% rostered, 3 TDs in the second half on Thanksgiving, guys, and maybe a mismanaged timeout away from winning that game. Honestly, can't believe they didn't fire the coach right there. If I owned the Bears, I'm firing him, or general manager, I'm firing him before he shakes the other coach's hand. I'm not letting him get to the locker room. All you had to do was call a timeout. You let 30 seconds run off the clock? Absolutely inexcusable. That is stuff that Pop Warner coaches do. You cannot do that in the NFL, guys. So back-to-back games with at least 26 fantasy points. He is playing against the 49ers. That defense is tough. I think they're a little down in the dumps, if I'm being honest, though. You lost Christian McCaffrey. This team's tough. They're well coached. I think with the coaching change, I think Caleb Williams can string something together this week. He has gotten better and better. So there I go right there with Caleb Williams. And then the part that no one wants to talk about. This is a dud of the week. Duds are those guys that, probably lost to your fantasy matchup and you'd rather not talk about. And that's probably why you want to do, see what what guys are available on the waiver wire. I have CJ Stroud. 14.3 fantasy points for CJ Stroud against the best quarterback matchup in fantasy football, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not sure what's going on with CJ Stroud. He is not playing good. I don't think he's had over 20 fantasy points since week 5. Double check me. Let me know in the comments at TFF Dudes on YouTube if that's right or wrong. Little dynasty question for you here. Okay. Who would you rather have in dynasty fantasy football right now? CJ Stroud or Bryce Young? These guys have been compared to each other, for years, since the draft. It was a slam dunk, CJ Stroud last year. But Bryce Young's kind of showing something. He's playing well. and he has no supporting cast. He doesn't have a Nico Collins. He doesn't have a Tank Dell. He doesn't have a Joe Mixon. He has a Chuba Hubbard, right? He has Adam Thielen, Xavier Legette. Yeah, so I I think we could, this contest isn't over yet, but just interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Would really appreciate that. And also, what I appreciate is if you give me a like and give me a sub and the thumbs up. The double thumbs up is even better, guys. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think in the YouTube comments. Remember, don't be rude. Share the dudes. Really helps us out. All right, handing this off to the running backs, guys. Jordan Mason. This one's obvious. 38% rostered. Pray for the guys who held on to CMC all season long and didn't handcuff Mason. And pray extra harder for the guys who didn't handcuff Mason the second time after he got dropped. So it's not, so not once, but twice. And also, I think we need to pick up Guerendo because, Mason doesn't really play through boo-boos or owies. So I think, Guerendo is a guy that needs to be rostered as well as just a security blanket. And maybe Shanahan goes hot hand. I think this is good news for Debo Samuel, who's been an absolute stinker. All right, next, but add Jordan Mason. Next on the list, guys, I got Kamani Vidal, 25% rostered. Tough matchup against Kansas City Chiefs. Think hot hand approach here in Los Angeles for the Chargers as well. He had 4 carries for 20 yards. Gus Edwards had 6 carries for 32 yards. Terrible matchup, but Kamani Vidal needs to be rostered. And then I have a stash here at the running back position. I got Chris Rodriguez, 2% rostered. He is on bye this week for the Washington Commanders. You can get him cheap if you have room to hold on to him right now. Austin Eckler is on the IR till week 18. So there's a nice little stash there for you. And now some more duds. I got the running back duds here. Bryce Hall, who had 6 fantasy points today, I don't know what's wrong with the Jets, other than they're just the Jets. And then Chuba Hubbard, 2.3 fantasy points. Chuba Hubbard has been an absolute, league saver. He got him for cheap. He's been just excellent. I don't know what happened. Maybe the Buccaneers, they're decent against the run, but Chuba Hubbard, you really let us down, but you've been so good to us the whole entire year. I think we'll forgive you, but another tough matchup this week as well. All right. And those were the running back duds brought to you by our friends over at Trophy Smack. Hit over to trophysmack.com/dudes. 15% off your whole entire order, guys. Get yourself that championship ring. Don't wait for your commissioner to do something nice for you. We know how commissioners are. They don't care about you. They're probably annoyed by you. And honestly, rightfully so. All right. Wide receivers, guys. Nick Westbrook-Akeem, 28% rostered. He's playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like I said, great matchup for quarterbacks. I think he gets another touchdown this week, guys. He's averaging a touchdown every 2 catches, has 7 TDs on 20 catches in his last 8 games, guys. Nick Westbrook-Akeem, just play him. Don't watch the game. Just play him. Guy scores touchdowns. Next, I got Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 42% rostered at the New York Giants. Derek Carr's number 1, guys, and 4 TDs in 3 games. So he's right up there. Poor man's Nick Westbrook-Akeem, and he's doing it on very low volume, which is kind of concerning, but he is the number 1 pass catcher for the Saints. And also looks like Taysom Hill had a season-ending knee injury. So there's some more target share for him as well. And then I got another stash here. I got Adam Thielen, 51% rostered. They're playing the Eagles this week. You can play him if you're absolutely in a bind. Eagles are just, heard that song Man-Eater. They're more like wide receiver eaters. So don't play him, but he is the Panthers' number 1. So I do like that there. So sorry if you hear my mouse. I have a mouse here for my laptop. I usually don't have one. Got it on Black Friday, and I'm using a football cheese cutting board. So not the best for sound. I'll try to keep the scrolling to a minimum. All right, wide receiver duds. Oh, also, I got a Hail Mary play. And speaking of Hail Mary plays, head over to TFF Dudes on YouTube on Saturday, and I will have my sleeper plays for week 14, and I will try to make sure none of them are on this list. I did that last Friday night on a limb, got some really positive feedback from it. So guys, keep doing it there. I had some good quarterback plays, had some good sayings, all that good stuff, guys. So hit the bell, hit the like I said. So I got a Hail Mary play here. Trey Tucker at Tampa Bay. Had a good game against the Chiefs for the Raiders. So I'll have more sleepers, but that's just a little tease right there. Your little tease, right? Okay. Wide receiver duds. Debo Samuel. I'm just going to put you on this week for week 14 also. But 2 fantasy points. It was a snow game, but you've just been an absolute disaster the whole season. Calvin Ridley, not the whole season. Debo's been a disaster ever since he swung at his kicker or long snapper. Ever since the little scuffle on the sidelines, Debo hasn't been the same. And he didn't get fantasy points for that either. Calvin Ridley, 5.5 fantasy points. Will Levis has been playing good. Calvin Ridley just didn't get it done today. So I did not watch a lot of that Titans game. I did see the Nick Westbrook-Akeen highlights, though. And then I got this one. I had to double check this one. I was like, did he get injured? Like, what happened? Turf monster, what happened? Cooper Kupp, 3.2 fantasy points. Very rare L for Cooper Kupp. He did not get injured from what I read. I'm not known for reading very well, so that's you might want to double check that. But yeah, Cooper Kupp, 3.2 fantasy points. All right. Tight ends, guys. I got the tight ends here, and I just realized I have not been sharing my graphics on here, so I'm sorry about that. Tight ends, and I got tweet of the week I even missed here, man. Like what am I doing here? Sorry, I just got carried away. I'm like, man, this is 11 minutes long. It's normally not this fast, but maybe it's a good thing. Maybe you guys like it shorter. Tweet of the week here. I got this Buffalo Bills Buffalo Bills lineman, lifting his shirt up and down. I won't do it, even though some of you accused me on X that was me, lifting my shirt up in the snow like that. Not me. I said football weather, only Bills Mafia will understand. # Bills Mafia. Actually, just some Yahoo named Samuel Marshall who thought that was maybe me in the picture. But no, I am not that buff, I would say. Anyways, all right. Next on the list, guys, I'm going to go over to tight ends, and I got Pat Friar-Moose as my number 1 ad here. 43% rostered, playing against Cleveland. Had a big game against the Bengals, and maybe he can continue that versus Cleveland. Had 7 points 2 weeks ago when they played the Browns, so it could be a decent spot for him. You don't love tight ends, and there's just not a lot of them out there, and it's very bare right now. Juwan Johnson, 6% rostered at the New York Jets. All right, New York Giants. No Taysom Hill, like I said earlier. He's not the same player as Taysom Hill, and he'll probably get similar amount of snaps as he did with Taysom Hill was there, but less target share. Juwan Johnson, the ball's got to go somewhere to one of those guys, and maybe even Foster Moreau's the other guy I kind of like there. I don't know if he's injured. Just double check here. Yeah, I think Foster Moreau's a decent ad as well for a deep league, just depending who it is. And then last, I got Noah Gray. Did he have his 2 TD game like he did, back-to-back weeks? No, but I still think there's some meat on the bone there for him to keep doing well. He had 7 fantasy points this week, so that was a down week, but maybe he gets a touchdown this week against the Chargers. Their defense is tough. It's got to go somewhere. All right. Yeah, somewhere besides Hopkins and Kelsey's just not reliable. I think Josh Allen has one less TD catch than Travis Kelce on the season, or maybe they're tied. Not sure. All right, Noah Gray. Tight end of the week, George Kittle. Rare primetime L for George Kittle. You hate to see it, especially with no CMC. He just could not get it done for you today. So, guys, that is all I have for all my waiver wire ads, guys. Remember, give us a sub. We will see you on Thursday with all of our previews. I'll have all the dudes here. I'll have Phil and Jordan and Seth. So you won't want to miss that, guys. And then on Friday, they should be back with their underdog prop play show. So you won't want to miss that either. And then on Saturday, I'll have my sleeper show. So we got an action-packed week for you guys. So we will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I really mean it. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And I appreciate you all. And I don't know why I'm doing that. Maybe I'm just thankful because Thanksgiving, it's Christmas time. But anyways, guys, we will see you next time. This is getting weird. And as always, take care.
This has been another episode of the Fantasy Football Dudes podcast. Remember to rate, review, and follow. For more information, go to www.thefantasyfootballdudes.com. And remember, we are sorry for absolutely nothing.